Cielo 101, KHJ FM, Los Angeles.
Parade 69.
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta, where we might have to set the whole town on fire to do a particular period piece.
It's the 9 billion names of pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm the Kling Clang King of the Rim Ram Room.
So let's talk about some stuff.
Yes.
So, before we get into our movie review section, which is kind of what we're shooting for today, I have questions. So,
Question, all right.
you know how you sometimes hate me because lucky shit just drops in my lap a lot of the time?
Are we going to talk about a certain book thing?
No, that's another thing. We can talk about that, but this is a even bigger thing than that.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
No, I don't hate you. I'm just insanely jealous and realize that to have lucky things happen to you, you actually have to go out and do other things to allow the good things to happen to you.
Okay.
So staying inside like, Oscar the Grouch, venturing out only for groceries and work, and maybe trivia once a week, you don't get to do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So what has fallen into your lap and I assume done something really wonderful in your lap?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
So you've known me for quite a while.
Yes.
If there is one thing I could do, or let's give it away, one place I could go in the next couple of weeks, where would it be?
Oh. Are you going to go to California or Florida?
Florida.
You're going to Florida, and you're going to go to Galaxy's Edge.
I am going to Galaxy's Edge. And not only that, I am going to a cast preview of Disney employees, so it won't even be mobbed with people. Because again, the luckiest asshole walking around.
Can you reveal how this fell into your lap?
Yeah, I have a coworker who is very good friends of mine, and her parents work at Disney and have worked at Disney for, her dad's worked there for 25 years, and they each got an extra ticket.
So 25 years. So he's actually been able to see Walt's cryotube.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, 30 years he gets to touch it.
Ooh.
No, but they each got one extra ticket for the cast preview for Galaxy's Edge, and
oh, good. So you're going and you're taking me.
no, it's her. She's going.
For the daughter.
Yes,
their
yes.
daughter.
And she said to me, she's like, my parents might be able to get one of these. Would you want to go? And I was like, well, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, your husband doesn't want to go? She's like, no. He said it would be. He said it would be all right, but he thinks you'd enjoy it more.
Do I want to go? Did Greedo shoot first?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Come on. So I will be able to report back.
Oh my.
We will definitely. It's a 4-hour window. It's going to be a crazy thing because we're driving down like one day, going the next morning, and then driving back. Yeah,
that is a hell of a drive.
Yeah, it's a hell of a drive.
I think it's about 9 hours.
Nah, she says 6.
6?
She says about 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's not terribly bad.
No, that's fine. When I was traveling around the country, I would easily go 5 to 8 hours a day, just depending on where I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
And let's face it, out in the, once you leave California, it's just a race to get out of the Southwest to things that are interesting. You know, I mean, there's a few stops, but in between those stops, you've got just, 400 miles to the next gas station. You're like, holy.
Oh, that's scary.
And then, of course, after that, it's another 300 miles. It's like, who's delivering gas in the middle of the desert?
Right.
I mean, to that one place. And, it's, and what happens if the tanker runs out of gas? I guess he can fill up from his own supply.
I don't think it works that way.
No.
Yeah. So, that's a thing. Not 2 weeks from now, I think it is the 18th and 19th. We're going. So
okay.
Yep, I'll be able to report back where we get to do. I think 3 things. One of them being Smuggler's Run. We get to fly the Falcon. And
from what I understand, you need to fly the Falcon many times to get the full experience.
Yes,
because every decision you make changes the game, and you learn what happens. So, like, the first one is just is just getting familiar with things.
Right.
And then by the third time, now, of course, with the demand that there is for that, you're not going to necessarily get to do it 3 times in
not
one
at all.
visit.
Right.
But excellent. Well, good.
Yeah,
good,
and
good.
from what I understand, the game, the length of the game changes how much better you do, how much better you fly, and then even if you do really well, something with your fast pass or your badge, your wristband or something, like your status will go up and people will know, you did really well on the smuggler's run or something like that. It's like crazy shit. So I'll be able to report back. And
it's like they actually talked to people who did games and said, how can we make this really awesome and make people want to come back? Because that's the key thing. I'm sure they spent maybe, I don't know, half a day's worth of Infinity Gauntlet receipts, to build this, multi-million dollar, establishment there. Disney, man, 5 billion plus films in 1 year, and it's not even over yet.
No, and they've still got
Star Wars
loaded up. So there's another one there.
So
it's
Disney
insane.
Disney gets all the monies,
all of them,
just
all the freaking monies.
Yeah. So, well, I am, like I said, don't hate you, horribly jealous. But if it's like, sure, I got an extra ticket, let's drive down. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
You're not going to drive the 6 hours and turn around and then drive back.
Noise. They got tickets to Orlando and back that are cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to think about.
We'll see. I'll look and see.
I mean, from what last time I was, because I checked. You can go down there one way for like $60. So, just depends. Depends on what you want to do.
I mean, I like I said to her, I was like, I haven't done a crazy road trip in a long time, and so what the hell, Like, I'm getting to that age where it's like, I don't really want to do that either. But for this, it's
Star Wars.
Oh, this,
and if it was just like, hey, I'm going to go, I have an extra ticket to just
go to Disney.
But that's like, no. But not for one day. You can't do Disney in one day.
Not at all.
Really
not at
well.
All. And again, I said we'll take advantage of that another time because her parents and I, the not disheartening, but the kick in the gut is that it's my friend Amanda who I work with.
Right.
Her parents and I are very close to the same age.
Yeah.
And it's like, that one hurt. But we just hit it off and they were like, yeah, just come down and we'll do a trip to Disney at some point and go through and see stuff and
that's right. You work at Disney, man. You get a very liberal amount of get-in free passes.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in certain positions where after 25 years, I'm sure he's in a position to where whenever you want to come down, we got you.
Exactly. And
bring your friend Michael. I hear good things about him.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
And I definitely owe Courtney a run because I was like, that's going to be the trickiest part of this whole thing. So can I go to Florida with somebody else and do Star Wars?
Well, there's only one ticket.
Yes.
And it's like either I don't go or I do go.
There was
without you.
There was 1 second of, are you fucking kidding me? But then it went away and she was like, well, I don't want you to miss that. And I know Amanda and it's all good. So yeah, she said basically her response was, well, I'm going to Hogwarts without you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. We can go together, but that's fine.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I will report back a full scope of what, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a one-time thing. It's 4 hours, and I'll get as much of it as I can.
But it's reduced people.
Yes,
it's a Disney event.
It's before it opens,
right?
So,
Galaxy hasn't opened in Florida yet.
Not yet. It opens the end of the month.
So they're doing test runs.
Yeah,
with people.
Yeah, so it'll be way lighter people, and we just get to do stuff. So that's what I mean. It's like the pre.
Or if you're a cast member and you're fucking up, they're gonna go. You can't hide behind, Minnie Pearl and her little children from Wisconsin hanging out.
Yeah, it's dress rehearsal, and it's test run, so it's like, fuck yeah, if we can do that, I'm down. So
Iger will be in the crowd, but you won't know where.
Yeah.
So don't fuck up.
Yep.
So your other, let's jam into your other great joy. I mean, your two great joys in life are Star Wars, which we just talked about, and Rush.
Oh yeah. Actually,
the movie with Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah,
just such a fine film.
No, I had another thing. So pretty much my hero, Geddy Lee, the bass player from Rush. If you don't know who it is, you're not listening to this podcast.
Take off, Hoser.
Yeah, he put a book out called the Big Beautiful Book of Bass, and it's all about.
It's basically you can get charged with murder if you hit somebody with it.
Yes,
it is.
It's about 200 pounds. No, it's really nice. It's a big coffee table book on his collection of bass guitars and like pictures of his collection, and it's like a history of bass guitars. It's really gorgeous. I had to go ahead and buy the Kindle version of it just so I could read it because it's so heavy I can't carry it around. So it's worth the $13 if you're going to do
Dan,
that.
what's in your wagon you're dragging behind you to work?
Why are you walking with that stoop nowadays?
Well, it's the big bass book.
And for, it came out right around Christmas time, and all year he's been doing these very short, it's not like a giant book tour. It's just like, hey, we're doing 5 dates in this part of Canada, and we're doing 5 days in this part of Canada, and finally it was like American dates, and I looked on the thing, and Atlanta was one of them, and I was like, holy shit.
Which is amazing. Because things skip Atlanta so often.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Geddy remembered the massive crowds the last 2-3 times.
Oh yeah,
every that Rush time. Plays. Like, all right, there's people there that would like to, say hi to me.
And it's one of those things. It's a book signing. It's not a I didn't get to hang out with the guy and have dinner. It was very fast.
He didn't do a PowerPoint like, and this bass over here is what I played Tom Sawyer on, and I'm sick of that bass too.
Right. Not at all. It was a whole bunch of people. It was done really, really well. It was I forget the name of the bookstore that was the Acapella Books did it in Atlanta. And I got to give them credit. They did it as well as you could possibly do it because the weather was supposed to be bad. They said, and they originally said, oh, we're going to do it in the bookshop, but there's going to be a lot of people, so we'll have a tent outside. And it was then supposed to rain, and then it turned out it was just crazy hot that day. So they moved it to in Inman Park, there's the trolley museum or something, basically just a big empty space that's like an old depot or something.
Right.
And they did it in there, and the tickets, the way they sold the tickets were there was a 3:00 slot, a 4:00 slot, and a 5:00 slot. I didn't realize that, and I'd gotten a 3:00 slot because I immediately jumped on and bought a ticket as soon as it came on.
Right.
And I got there, like 1:30, about 2:00. No, about 2:30 they let everybody in. It was air conditioned. It was like, walk up to this table and sign your thing, walk over here, get this stamped, walk over there and get in line, boom. And then, he showed up and it was fast. Again, it was, hey, hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for everything. Sign the book, shake his hand, move on.
Okay.
But
you got your picture.
I got to say thank you to Geddy Lee again for the second time because when I did the meet and greet, 2000.
Yeah, you've now met your hero twice.
Twice, yeah. So I'm, again, pretty lucky.
Pretty good. The only time I have stood in line for a meet and greet was to see Ozzy Osbourne.
Very nice.
And I did it. And, of course, I was, 14, 15.
Oh, wow. Like prime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prime time.
Prime time. Well, it wasn't during the first 2 solo, which for me is the prime. After Randy died,
I meant your
devil,
prime.
My prime.
Perfect time to be meeting Ozzy Osbourne is 14, 15,
Thanks.
No, I meant for that. For as a teenage boy, meeting Ozzy Osbourne has got to be the thing. Now it would be like, hey, man, what's up?
I got a ton of pictures of him.
Yeah.
They didn't allow people to go behind the table.
Same with Geddy, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I understand that.
Yeah.
I get that. And it was interesting, but there are so many people there.
Yeah.
There was at a Tower Records, and literally the entire parking lot was filled.
Yeah,
and there were people out there from some religious nut, protesting. Do you worship the devil?
Mm-hmm.
No. Well, but I play on a softball team. Yeah.
No, we're just friends.
Yeah,
yeah. Same thing. They didn't allow pictures like with him because that would have taken forever.
Exactly.
But Courtney got a couple pictures of me talking to him, and I got they were kind of standing in the way, like moving the books in front of them, and I kind of bumped my camera, and it switched to video. So I got video of Courtney fist bumping Geddy Lee, which is even better in my opinion.
Exactly.
So,
Turn that into a funky GIF.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Excellent. So, has your glories ended now? Are you?
Yeah, that's all the real cool shit.
Okay.
It's all downhill from here. Is all it is.
All right. I just went to see a little film.
Okay.
All right. It's the 9th film from Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Because, yes, Kill Bill is volume 1 and 2. It counts as one film.
Okay, now he's correct me if I'm wrong. He's always said he's going to do 10 movies. Right?
He has said that, and nothing has been said that would say, well, maybe not. He's out with one more.
Okay.
That's what he said. And then he wants to write about film and do more intellectual professorial stuff. Because he's a huge film nerd.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of epic proportions.
Yep.
So, and if he does that, hey, so be it. We'll just have 100% less feet on screen. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And theoretically, there are 2 films that are possible. One is the Star Trek film. He has written the script. It's whether he's going to direct or not.
There's a lot of weird talk about that. Like if it's real or not, if he's actually going to do it. He wants to do it like a hard R-rated Star Trek movie. It's one of those things that's like, is this an actual thing or is this some weird joke?
You know what? It's like a car crash. I don't really want this film to happen that way.
Yeah.
But man, if it does, I want to check it out.
Well, if it happens, oh yeah, I will go and see that.
I mean, because right now the Star Trek franchises, the movie franchises.
Oh, it's dead at the moment. That last movie, they're not going to do any more of those Chris Pine movies. I don't think.
Do you think? Well, that's the thing. Are they going to try to resurrect the Chris Pine cast?
I don't think so. I mean, they've got Picard in the hopper and they've got Discovery going, so I think they're fine. Like the brand is good because I think that's going to carry it. The movie thing, I think they may back off a little bit because that last one didn't do that great.
Now, what did they did? The first one was brilliant. Then they did Into Darkness, and then there was one more, right?
Yeah, and we went and saw that one, and it was like, it was all right.
Yeah. Everyone says, give Into Darkness another shot. I'm like,
I'm just not a huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah,
so
I'll see most of it. Most of the stuff at least once.
Yeah,
and then I only own I think maybe Wrath of Khan and the Journey Home or Coming Home. With
Voyage
the whales.
Home, Voyage Home. Yeah.
I think that's it.
I'm way more excited about the Picard series.
Fuck yes.
Than I am on any movie.
I'm the dumb motherfucker that bought the Star Trek Next Generation season box sets when they were $100 a piece. Only this is back when I had just started buying box sets.
Yeah,
and I didn't understand the window because with music CDs it took like a decade for something to go from list down to catalog.
Pricing, you mean?
Pricing.
Oh, yeah.
So only to find that, 3 years later after they sucked all the money out of the Trekkies, they did the same thing with a little, less grandiose packaging, which I never give a shit about, for like a half the cost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. That is why.
And honestly, now it's all just on Netflix or Hulu or something.
Yeah, but for things that are absolutely masterpieces, I want to own them.
Yeah, I agree.
Which has really helped
because that stuff goes away too. And it moves around. Like Doctor Who is moving over to whatever the new HBO Max thing is.
Yeah.
Like they got the exclusive rights. Like it'll air on BBC America, and then it's going to go to that thing, and then it's like, well, fuck, I don't have that thing anymore,
exactly.
so I can't watch it.
And that's why I don't do Netflix streaming. It would be very good, for the new shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't watch a lot of I do watch a lot of the new stuff, but I'm going back and watching, documentaries and foreign films and shit like that. And to trust Netflix to like, oh, they've got that. All right, I'll get to that by the time I get to that, the licensing agreement is gone and it's off Netflix.
Yeah.
So if there was a service where once it's on, it stays on, okay. But that's not a good business model for Netflix.
It's not going to happen. We were in the middle of Parks and Recreation like, we were like the middle of season 3 or something, and it disappeared. And then it jumped over to Hulu, like in the middle of it. And it was like, I went to Netflix and it was gone. And I was like, holy shit. And I just happened to jump over to Hulu and there it was. So we carried on. But now it's back on Netflix or something. So it's weird. Yeah. It's that part of it sucks.
Right. Exactly.
And, again, back to Disney, when Disney Plus comes up, that's going to shake up everything because they're just going to grab everything. And
of course.
Even though they kind of own Hulu now, don't they?
That was an ABC thing, wasn't it? Or was it an NBC?
Yeah,
thing?
but I think
is that part of the deal?
I think so, yeah.
Well, you know what? They may transition people to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Because they're definitely not going to transition, get rid of their announced platform and just use Hulu.
No.
It's branding, baby. They got to have the branding.
Yeah, they'll put like the 5 current episodes of whatever ABC shows they have on there, and then everything else will be on Plus.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yep.
Oh, so I guess it's the end of the podcast.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
All right. Oh, yes, The Feat. Quentin Tarantino's 9th film. I went and saw it on Thursday, called Once Upon a Time in, I think it's in
Hollywood. ...
Hollywood.
Okay.
Not quite sure what that means.
Even after seeing it?
No. It's not explained.
Oh, okay.
It's just the way that he did the title,
okay,
I guess. For those of you familiar with Quentin Tarantino's recent-ish films, it is revisionist history.
Interesting.
It is alternate history. Quentin Tarantino has basically, and this has been said a million times, and it's true, this is his love letter to the Los Angeles of his extreme youth, because he was 6 or 7 years old in 1969.
Okay. Yeah.
And he has stated that, there's a lot of driving scenes in this film.
That's what I hear, yeah.
And that's because his stepfather had a Carmen Ghia, same as Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character.
Uh-huh.
And his memory of Los Angeles at that time is sitting in the Carmen Ghia, the open top, and they were driving around Hollywood and Los Angeles doing whatever they do, and that's what he remembers seeing.
Okay.
And what he remembers listening to is KHJ,
okay,
Boss Radio.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I should have put it together. I have been a massive KHJ Boss Radio fanatic for like 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
I've discovered the Real Deal, Don Steele, Robert W. Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
These people that were, back when DJs spun what they wanted to, back when DJs were real personalities that people looked at the same as rock stars in a way.
Yeah, and hit makers too.
Exactly. And the Boss Radio format that didn't originate in Los Angeles, but that's where it came to fruition.
Okay.
I have a book that has flyers, internal memos of KHJ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is legendary radio. And the soundtrack, I got to tell you, Tarantino, he put together a mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone who knows Tarantino's films, the songs that he pulls for his movies are wonderful.
Yeah.
And maybe a third of them are ones like, oh, I know that song. But the other 2/3 are like, this is great. What is this?
Right.
And he's able to license some of these, lesser films or regional hits. I've learned since coming to Atlanta 20 years ago that something that was really big in Southern California never left Southern California.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that in Georgia.
And the same thing here. Things that were hits in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you remember the band Nantucket? I went, no, I never heard of them. Like, well, they're big.
Yeah, Driving and Crying. Huge here in Georgia.
I did know Driving and Crying.
They had one hit outside of here, but they went away quickly.
Fly Me Courageous.
Else. Yeah.
That was the big one.
Yep.
But they got so much.
But they're still around. I mean, they're still playing here. Kevin Kinney is, all over Atlanta still.
And up until recently, we had Guadalcanal Diary popping up every now and then. I think they just lost their, I want to say, bass player.
Okay.
He died, I think, of cancer.
Huh.
So that sucks. But getting back to Los Angeles, 1969, it shows L.A. at the turn of the decade.
Yep.
And it's not really Los Angeles that I relate to that much because obviously I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
when in 1969. But enough of what was lingered on into the LA of the 80s and 90s that I knew. And of course, coupled with the fact that I'm a huge fan of the Boss radio format and listening, he had the real deal, Don Steele.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, he has like real.
He's using actual air checks from KHJ in the 60s. And man, it made, because I listened to those air checks, you know, with the music, because sometimes they're scoped. Scoped means you can sell them, but you can only use like the 5 seconds, you know, into a song and out of a song. But you can't include the song. You can't do that.
Yeah, they do that on. I used to listen to K-Rock's podcast, and on the podcast they would do that. They would play like 5 seconds of the song, and then come out of the song, and then they're back into the bits.
Right. And the reason for that is, you know, record labels like, hey, give me some money, and they go, no.
Yeah.
So, but I have some underground shit that keeps the music. Well, of course. Of course. You know.
So, but you got the whole thing, and you could even like recreate that shit too. You could like re-edit. You know,
yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could put the songs back in. Yeah. It would be kind of jarring in the transition. I mean, unless you really paid a lot of attention to, I guess, not the room noise, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
the feel of it. You'd have to really tweak it. And you know what?
Challenge accepted.
Well, it's fine the way it is because
I get it.
There's something about listening to that music in, I don't want to call it kind of muted and tinny way.
Oh, but that sound.
That you get from the music.
That atmosphere of
it.
Exactly.
I mean, because if you scoped and then suddenly dropped in, you know, the remastered
the
whatever.
high-end wave.
It'd be like, what the hell?
No,
so
I know what you're talking about.
So Quentin Tarantino has painted a majestic picture of Los Angeles in 1969 and used the Manson murders as a way to frame the narrative.
And that's not the point of the film, right?
No, absolutely not.
It's there, but it's not what the movie's about.
There are 5 or 6 strings he starts rolling out from the top of the film, and they all lead to the Manson murders.
Okay.
Because they all come to fruition at we'll call it the event.
Okay.
And it's amazing the way, you know, he knows how to do a narrative. I just like that. You know, it's like the comedian that kills with a joke at the top of his set and then comes back.
Yeah,
the
callback.
And that's what he does here, you know. If you see an acid dip cigarette in Act 1, you had damn well better have somebody smoking that acid dip cigarette in Act 3.
Oh yeah, Chekhov. And if you see a gun, that gun better be used.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And it gets smoked.
Yep.
At a very tense time in the film. How much do you know about the Manson murders?
I mean, not in great detail, but I mean, I know Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, Polanski was out. Obviously, he
he
survived, so he could go and do
some awful shit.
that he.
But Sharon Tate was pregnant.
Sharon Tate was pregnant with Polanski's child.
Yeah.
And the murders were carried out by 3 members of the Manson family.
Was that Squeaky Fromm?
Tex, Squeaky Fromm, and I can't remember the names.
Right.
And apparently, Kasabian, was it Linda Kasabian?
Something like that.
She stayed as a watch out or a lookout in the car.
Yeah.
You know who plays Miss Kasabian in Tarantino's film?
I'm not sure, but I might know.
Maya Hawke.
Who is
Uma Thurman's daughter.
Ah, okay.
Now, it's not a huge part.
Right.
There are a lot of big-name people in this film that are in a part of one scene.
Yeah.
But, you know, look through the IMDb and, like, you know a third of the people right off the bat.
Because what I thought, I think, if I've read social media correctly, Harley Quinn Smith is also in it.
She is.
Yeah.
She's one of the... He loaded up a lot of Manson girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so is remember BB, the Uma Thurman's daughter in Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Haley Jardine, something like that.
Uh-huh.
She's in it as well.
Cool.
Very brief. I believe she's the one that sells Brad Pitt's character an acid dip cigarette. Yeah. So that's. I was very happy to find that Margaret Qualley was in the film.
Okay. Don't know.
She is the daughter of Andy McDowell.
Oh, okay.
She is stunning beyond all comprehension.
Okay.
And I first knew of her, The Leftovers. Remember hearing about that series?
Yeah. Yeah.
She was a character in that.
Okay.
And she also played Bob Fosse's love interest, Anne Ranking, in the Fosse Verdon.
Mm-hmm.
So she's playing under 18 in Once Upon a Time, and she's playing mid to late 20s in Fosse Verdon. So she's versatile.
Oh, cool.
She's versatile.
Good.
And she plays a character called Pussycat.
All right.
And, of course, the inevitable pussy jokes are, used a little bit, but not too much. God, what else? So the Manson murders are used as one part of how to frame the narrative, but the other is the relationship between Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Rick Dalton.
Yep.
And Rick Dalton is a guy who did some TV westerns, got a little bit of fame, but is kind of squandering his talent. He does some, heavy of the week and different shows.
Yeah, I've heard that they recreate like episodes of shows that he's in.
Correct.
For and you see almost the entire episode. Where
No,
but there's a lot of it. I understand.
No.
Okay.
I mean, there's like scenes of like maybe 2 minutes of it.
Okay.
They don't do full episodes in there. I mean,
got it.
I'm sure Quentin, we're here. Let's go ahead and shoot this episode. We'll do it in the bonus features.
Yeah, there's rumors that there's going to be a director's cut that's going to Netflix.
I don't doubt it because, I could see where people would say you could really cut 40 minutes out of it. You could. It's not necessary to the narrative, but it's so good. It fleshes out the characters, At Leonardo DiCaprio playing Rick Dalton, he kind of veers from serious acting into kind of hokey overacting. But there are scenes that are very real, very gritty, very deep. There's a full 8-minute scene with him talking to an 8-year-old actress on a set.
Right.
That sets up one of the most poignant moments in the film. You tear up a little bit because he does as well. The writing, those extra minutes, those extra scenes really flesh out the character and make you invested for what happens at the end. This is important. If it looks like the Manson family's coming to kill, you're like, all right, whatever. I saw that, who gives a shit?
Right.
But you feel for the guy. He does some stuff. Same with Cliff Booth, played by, I think, probably one of Brad Pitt's best roles. I mean, it's fully fucking formed. I mean, he is Rick Dalton's stunt double.
Yeah.
And back then, this is at the waning days of the studio system in Hollywood. It's not quite transitioned to the new vanguard of filmmakers like Coppola, Scorsese, Lucas, Spielberg. They're not quite there yet. It's
still a studio system, but
it's still kind of a studio system, but it's no longer the kind
they're indentured servants.
Exactly,
yeah.
But it's not quite to where it is today. It's in a period of transition. A lot of these older filmmakers are petering out, and the new wave is coming in because Hollywood didn't know what people wanted. What do they make these films and some of them are hits, some of them,
the early 70s was very weird for movies, like the late 60s, early 70s, because you had a lot of experimental stuff coming out,
you had a lot of experimental stuff because Hollywood realized, yikes, we need to bring in some fresh blood because things have changed. I mean, what flew in 62 would not fly in 72.
Right.
The cultural landscape was entirely different. We've talked about this as far as music goes. You know, Frank Sinatra could rule the charts in 62, couldn't get mugged on, 10 years later. He always had his fan base, but as far as big monster hits that just, kept coming and coming, the landscape had changed.
Yeah, you get the Woodstock era, and
the Beatles started it,
Yep.
Around 64, 65, and by the time you get to 1969, the kids rule music.
Everything, yeah.
And they're the ones that, with that disposable income, they're also going to see films or not seeing films, as Hollywood finds out and goes, shit, we better, maybe we better let some of these kids, or at least close to them, that are filmmakers.
Yeah, they're not making like Bedtime for Bonzo and shit like that. They're you're getting into your 2001 and your like the head from the Monkees and like weird ass Logan's Run and weird ass experimental films and stuff.
Exactly, things that never would have flew or would have flown with a much lower budget as a B film are now like, let's make this a good film.
And westerns were dying out.
And that's the problem, because Rick Dalton's kid, he's a western guy.
Yep.
And let me tell you,
that was way out of fashion at that point.
Yeah.
Gunsmoke was still on TV.
I believe so.
And Bonanza was still on TV, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not 100%.
Do you know at least part of the lyrics to the song?
I know Bonanza. That's bad.
We got a right to pick a little fight, Bonanza.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a time of change, and in this change comes Sharon Tate.
Mm-hmm.
Her career is just getting started. She's played in this film by Margot Robbie, who does a damn good job. Margot Robbie, pregnant, at the end of the film, not at the beginning of the film, with Roman Polanski's baby, And there's a really great scene that, some people say it could be taken out. I don't think so. Where she goes and watches herself. She goes to the box office and says, hey, I'm in this film. Can I come in and watch the people watch it? Because she's already seen it.
Yeah.
She wants to experience it with people in a room.
Right.
And as we all know, seeing something, hearing something, experiencing something for the first time in a room as opposed to, by yourself is a different experience.
100%. Yeah.
Exactly. So she wanted to go in and experience people experiencing her performance in the film for the very first time. And she gets in, like, this way, Miss Tate, and her joy in watching people enjoy that, it was very cleansing.
Okay.
There was kind of I don't want to say it wasn't gritty, but just a film of and that was like, it was like a little dash of Dawn, kind of cleaning it up a bit. So you're seeing new Hollywood rising, where of course she was in a Dean Martin film, so
yeah.
I mean,
your holdovers a little bit
still coming together on that.
Now I have a question about that.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on it, because the review I read, they were kind of confused by that, because they said, where I'm going.
It was actually Sharon Tate on the screen,
as opposed to recreating it like they did with DiCaprio.
Exactly. I have not read or heard anything about why that decision was made. I think in a way
it might have been to celebrate like actual Sharon Tate.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. It was more like, why do we recreate this? Let's just see a little bit of Sharon Tate.
Because at this point, like, Sharon Tate is more of a folktale than a person.
Right. Well, at this, most people know that Sharon Tate was murdered by the Manson family.
And that's it.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
So being able, because I was watching him going, wow, she really, hold it.
That's not
not her at all.
Yeah.
I went, oh, he used the actual, got it. Okay. Yeah. And I like that choice. It believe me, it's not just, he's not just telling a story. He's making a statement. He's creating a vibe. And of course, I'm very receptive to it because I grew up in Southern California.
Yeah.
So everything in that, at least, obviously a little bit before my time, but it made me feel, and from what I understand, people that were around at that point said, yeah, he nailed it. There's a whole scene where just the lights are being turned on at various spots around town. I mean, all these named joints, Frank and Musso's, and the neon turns on, and he even included 2 that blew my freaking mind because the lights went on in a Taco Bell. The old school Taco Bell,
like one of the early first.
The early ones with a patio and the little fire pit outside.
I don't even know what those look like.
I do because I grew up with one, and the other one was a Der Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah,
that had the A-frame house, and I just went, oh, you're man. If you had the lights come on a Tower Records, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, I gotta watch Serpico to get that kind of feeling.
Exactly. See, that's the thing.
New York City in the 70s
exactly.
is way different than yeah.
That's it, exactly. So, walking through Times Square now is not like walking through Times Square in 1970.
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
So, it's you can feel how much Tarantino loves Los Angeles. He really loves it. And back to Sharon Tate there, there's a whole thing where she picks up a rare book. I want to say it's Tess of the D'Urbervilles.
Okay.
I can't remember the book, but it's a first edition that she got for Roman, her husband. And it painted her as a very down-to-earth, nice person. Again, everyone knows what happens to her. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It definitely raises the stakes. Another interesting thing, Playboy Mansion.
I heard that, yeah.
And an interviewer said, wow, I've been to the Playboy Mansion. You guys really recreate. Oh, you filmed at the Playboy Mansion, didn't you? Like,
yeah, it's still there.
Of course there.
Yeah.
And
why recreate it? It's still there.
Exactly. And
age it down a little bit.
Tarantino said, yeah, I've been to the Playboy Mansion many times during Hef's stay. And everyone, well, a few times, just like, okay, I know where the grotto is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just shut up. We know.
Yeah.
We know what goes on in the grotto and elsewhere. It's a thing. It's a thing. Were you ever a Playboy Hef fan?
I don't know about fan. I mean, I have perused his work from now and again.
Oh. Tasteful use of lighting to capture the nipple just so.
I even read some of the articles. So.
Hey, I tell you, some really good writers wrote for Playboy.
Some great interviews.
Harlan Ellison wrote for Playboy. I mean, that's where the joke came. I read it for the articles.
Yeah.
It's legitimate because there are articles.
Oh, yeah, and there are great interviews.
Oh.
Playboy interviews were amazing back in the day. Yeah.
Exactly. So that you get to see Mama Cass.
Oh, cool.
In there, and Steve McQueen, played by Damian Lewis from
that makes sense.
from Homeland.
Homeland, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, not with the red hair, obviously.
Right.
But
was there a lot of that? A lot of recreations of people? I know. I mean, obviously there was Charles Manson.
Not too many.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously recreated a number of the members of the Manson family. Which brings us to one of my favorite scenes in the film.
Okay.
When let's put it this way. I told you about Pussycat.
Yeah.
The Cliff Booth driving around L.A. keeps seeing her, and she puts out her thumb, and he goes, no, I can't. Second time, I can't. Third time, huh? He goes, all right. And she, does her weird hippie dance and jumps in and says, I need to go to... I can't remember the name of the town. He goes, damn, that's a ways away. What are you doing up there? Oh, yeah, we got a little ranch up there. Like, it's not Spawn's movie ranch, is it? Like, yeah. He shot there when he was a stunt double back in the day doing Westerns because the Manson compound was an old movie set for Westerns that had fallen out of use and disrepair.
Okay.
And at one point had been a place where Hell's Angels gathered, and they weren't there anymore. Now the Manson family had moved in. That includes Dakota Fanning.
Really?
Yeah. And Lena Dunham.
Oh, okay.
Is one of the people there. And of course the aforementioned
Harley Quinn Smith.
Yep. Which I didn't recognize her, but there were so many girls.
Yeah.
Mikey Madsen was there, and she's one of the daughters, the oldest daughter on Pamela Adlon's film. That film.
I know what you're talking about.
Better Things. Which
now is she related to Michael Madsen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Although
that would make a hell of a lot of sense.
Although he shows up for a tiny bit. He shows up in an episode of Bounty Law, which was the thing that Rick Dalton was best known for. And I looked and went, "Oh my God, they brought him back.
Give him a little work." Yeah,
exactly.
Well, why wouldn't Tarantino help him out?
Oh yeah, he was brilliant in Volume 2 of Kill Bill.
Well, and Reservoir Dogs, obviously.
Yes. Torture you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Love that film. And Tarantino in an interview said that whole Sharon Tate thing came about because he did that with his girlfriend at the time for True Romance, which he wrote.
He did what?
Oh, tried to get in for free to watch the film.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And it was at the Bruin, which is the same theater that he did this at. You know that Tarantino owns, I can't remember what theater it is.
Oh, it's the ArcLight, I think.
Is it the ArcLight?
I think it's the ArcLight.
And he said...
No, it's the New Beverly. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the New Beverly.
As long as I am breathing, that theater will show 35 millimeter, no multiplex. It's old school or fuck off.
Yeah, I've heard Smith talking about it. I've heard like a lot of the LA guys talking about it's the New Beverly.
New Beverly. Excellent. And... So he did that, and they're like, I don't know. Here's my driver's license. See, written by, like that.
Yeah.
And then some people came up like, oh my God, because Reservoir Dogs had come out at that time,
right?
And of course that didn't do. They didn't do that well,
right?
But there were people that knew,
yep.
And they're like, oh my God, it's you, and get your autograph, and they went in and they got to see the film. You know. Reservoir Dogs, people, that's where it all starts.
Yeah, and that also has a big radio thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what brought back Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You.
That's the first time I had ever heard it. And...
That from the very first film, that he directed and wrote, the first big thing he did, he let us know, like, I know music. I love music, and I'm going to craft a soundtrack that you will not forget.
It's like Cameron Crowe, too. He does the same thing. Like with Almost Famous, if you look at Almost Famous, like the DVD... all the chapters on the DVD or on the Blu-ray or whatever are the songs that are in that scene.
Exactly.
It's the playlist of what's in it.
So where the Manson murders and Rick and his stunt double Cliff come together is that they're the next door neighbors to the Manson murder house.
Oh.
So this is also something for Rick Dalton to fret about, in that his star is on its downward trajectory.
Okay.
Because he's of the old school. People aren't, they're not paying the money. They're not hiring him as much. He'll play a heavy on an episode of Mannix or whatever, and it's one shot and he's out.
Yeah, he's not a movie star.
But he knows that the director of Rosemary's fucking Baby, which is very much, Polanski was doing the new Hollywood shit like 8 years before Hollywood went, oh, maybe we should try more of that. Rosemary's Baby, I can't remember the one he did about the woman in the where she goes crazy and the hands come out of the walls. I can't remember what the name. Compulsion.
Okay.
I believe it's Compulsion. Masterpiece film.
All right.
And this was, black and white, shot, I believe, in France. And it was compelling.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So he sees, like, this is the guy that's, he's on the rise. And maybe if we become friends, but he doesn't, he doesn't come over there and try to intrude. He's just fretting about it being. And throughout the film, you get this dynamic between him and Cliff Booth. The dialogue, man. God damn. That he does it so well, and it pains me because that is my weak point in writing.
Really?
Yeah. I do okay in my opinion, but man, I'm as the movie's going, I'm actually reading you know what I mean? I'm looking at the words on the page as they're being. I'm just like, Cliff turn, and I'm just like, damn. And apparently, in the run-up to the first read-through, there was one script, and they had to come to him. Because, remember what happened with The Hateful Eight? It leaked.
Yes.
And he said, fuck it, I'm not doing the film now. And of course he's like, all right, I'll change a few things, or I'll do the film. Because it leaked online.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Right, and this time he said, nope, one script. You come to me. And Brad Pitt and DiCaprio and Robbie all said, yeah, made multiple trips to his house and just hung out and just read that script. You know, and at the beginning when he first came to read some of it, it was pristine. By the time everyone had read it, it was, you know, dog-eared, coffee stain on the front of it. And he goes, you still have that, right? And Quentin was like, oh, yeah, I still have that.
Yeah, of course.
That's the motherfucker. I mean, that's, you know, that's the one that has been lived and breathed in by the three leads of the film. Mm-hmm. Hey, time is an abstract concept, so we never really run out of time, but we didn't talk briefly. We went long, so we're going to cut it off here, and we'll pick up part 2 next week.
I'm leaving that in. The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lono. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the Office of Howard, and Fine. I'll report back if it can make 0.5 past light speed.
All right.
This podcast is sponsored by Deep Jack Records and is a production of Audio Primer. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube, stream us on Spotify, listen on SoundCloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ.
Audio Primate.
Tina Delgado is alive!